call the monthly Board of Education meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I have a motion to approve the agenda.
Make that motion.
Quinn makes a motion. I have a second.
Second.
Ryle makes a second. All in favor, show of hands. 6-0, motion carries. Citizen statements. Dr. Henry.
Thank you, Mr. President. We had no one request participation as per Board Policy BDDH.
Written communications.
We had no written communications either.
Military update.
That was good timing. Nobody would have known if I didn't say that. We just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware that our gates are still a little busy on Wednesdays and Thursdays with graduation, so please take time. And also our school zones on post. Those coming in and out, please watch their speed. Other than that, we just would like to wish everybody a very happy school year season. I've got nothing further for the group, pending any of your questions.
Any comments or questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
District announcements.
Thank you, Mr. President. Tonight, we recognize our alternative education programs. They're small but mighty over there. So, yeah. That's interesting. Mr. Kramer would lead the way on that. But I do want to say thank you to our alternative program folks with all the different things you do to help kids stay on track and graduate. Kids in the alternative program are certainly indebted to all that you do, and it's always important to note that these kids come to us for a myriad of different reasons and just want to find success in school, and I appreciate all that you do for them. Homecoming will be held Friday, September the 17th. That's this Friday, I think, right? Okay. Students in grades 6 through 12 will dismiss at noon. Students in grades K through 5 will dismiss at 1 p.m. The parade will begin at 2:30 in downtown Waynesville and end at Waynesville Middle School. The Chamber of Commerce will host the annual Community Pride Night from 4:30 to 6:30 at Waynesville High School. Homecoming Queen Coronation will begin at 6:30 p.m., and the Tigers will take on the Lebanon Yellow Jackets at 7 p.m. All game tickets must be purchased in advance by going to the district's main website and clicking on Athletics/Sports. This year's theme is Faster, Higher, Stronger. Tigers go for the gold, and I look forward to seeing local businesses decorating their windows for our business window decorating contest. Future Cheer. You want to talk about a busy night at the football game. Future Cheer is coming up on October the 1st during halftime of the varsity football game. The Tiger Festival of Nations will be held Friday, October the 15th, starting at 6 p.m. with different cultures being showcased before the home varsity football game at Tiger Stadium. The Waynesville R6 School District will be having 3 upcoming Tiger Pride sessions this semester to provide information regarding the district's diversity lessons and training. All sessions will be held virtually via Zoom on September 21st, October 19th, and November 16th. Information was sent via email to parents about how to sign up for these sessions. That's all I have, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Henry. Any comments or questions? I have a motion to approve consent agenda items A through G.
Make that motion.
Ponder makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Quinn, second. All in favor, show of hands. 6-0, motion carries. Spotlight on education, Ms. Mitchell.
Go.
Okay, thank you so much for having us tonight. I would like to first recognize Mr. Sam Hall as our certified employee. I don't believe he's here tonight, but I do still want to recognize him publicly for everything he's done for our education program. Over the summer, he worked very hard creating a rotation schedule for the teachers and individual schedules for each student. This allowed our students to have schedules already entered before the school year began. He is also our Admentum specialist, and he assigns and monitors courses for our students throughout the year. Finally, Mr. Hall services 7 students on homebound and is helping several of them graduate this year. So thank you to Mr. Hall for all his service to our students. Now, I would like to recognize Mrs. Jennifer Adams for her work as our alternative ASP and Piney or Perimeter Healthcare Secretary. Come on up, Miss Adams. I'm going to make you stand by me. Mrs. Adams has worked very hard enrolling all of our Piney Ridge students and reviewing their transcripts, ensuring they are enrolled in all the correct courses. She has had to do a lot of work with this, and she's done great. She also assists food services daily with the district's free and reduced lunch applications, which helps our school receive free breakfast, lunch, and those after-school snack programs we get. She is a friendly face for many of our alternative students who may need to take a break at times from the classroom, and she is always willing to help wherever needed. We are very lucky to have her on our team. Oh, me too. Okay, and finally, as Dr. Henry said, we are kind of small, so I'd like to recognize all of my staff for their dedication to the PLC process. This includes Sam Hall, Chris Kramer, Kyle Barkley, Angela Witt, Dagmar Lambert, Stephanie Gist, Jennifer Adams, Andrea Adkins, and Mr. Henry Atkinson. Every week, we all sit down together and we discuss our Piney Ridge, ASP, and alternative students as a group to develop plans for success for each one of our individual students. We monitor their behavior, attendance, and academic progress and create goals for our students to work towards joining the regular education population again. They all focus on building positive relationships with each of our students to understand what each individual student needs and how to make them successful, and they do a great job of this every day. I am very proud to work daily with this group. Thank you. Oh, yes, okay. No, it's okay.
You got to get your picture taken.
Everybody's been here long enough to know they get their picture taken.
Yes.
3 times.
Is a picture even a question?
We should put him in the picture. Take a step forward off the back of the wall. All the way around. All right. Can I show your face?
Oh, can I show them?
Oh, wait. We need to move the chair a little.
Oh.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Perfect.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Community recognition, Mr. Bells.
Thank you, Mr. President. Is Pastor Marshall here with Still Usable Ministries? It is my honor to recognize Still Usable Ministries and Pastor Marshall. For the past several years, Still Usable Ministries has organized a community event where they supply backpacks, groceries, clothing to our families. This year they held a family-friendly event at our high school. In addition, Still Usable Ministries has assisted with numerous needs across individual students, and they're always an excellent partner for our district. Pastor Marshall serves on our district mitigation team, and we appreciate their commitment to our district and their partnership very much. So thank you, Pastor Marshall.
Roll Tide.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got to get everybody else in there.
Can I push this to talk?
Front and center.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Dr. Henry, if I may, Pastor Marshall was also recognized as our retiree of the year.
Oh, congratulations.
It's those Alabama graduates, is that, or Alabama people, the Roll Tide folk. That's right.
All the way.
All the way.
She's representing. Move to discussion items, Parker Fine Arts, Dr. Cobb.
Thank you, Mr. President. A couple pictures here for you. The lower levels mainly all been are demoed right now. As you see on the picture to the left, all the chairs been taken out and demoed down. I was told today that they will have the rock filled in tomorrow, and we'll be pouring concrete on that slab as early as next week. The picture to your right there is the main entrance is looking into the main doors, kind of be that hallway that goes in front of the 2 early childhood classrooms. These next pictures, as you'll see to the left, is where the 2 early childhood classrooms are going to be. They will start framing that as early as next week and get the interior walls framed in this next month. And then the picture to the right is actually what the bathrooms look like now. The both men's and women's bathrooms are going to get completely remodeled, ADA accessible. The idea behind that will be, as you'll see, you can kind of see to the right there's kind of some of the stubs that came down. They've had to dig some new plumbing to go in there, so that'll look all brand new. Next coming up is that they will have, once we get the concrete poured, they'll be able to get in the stage and demo the stage part and get the wall start building for that for the boardroom up there. As of right now, the project is actually ahead of schedule. I'm hoping we'll keep that way. So if you have any questions, I will take those now.
Any comments or questions? All right, thank you, Dr. Cobb. Early childhood programs, Dr. Mitchell.
Thank you. Good evening. I want to give you an update on some good things that are going on at Williams Early Childhood Center, and specifically over our preschool program. So these are some questions that we often get. So who we are. We are the Early Childhood Center for the Waynesville School District, and we service children who are 3 to 5 years old. All the children in our program have either gone through a screening process, we use the Dial 4 screening, or a special education evaluation to ensure that we're prioritizing the students who have the greatest need for preschool education. Thinking about our screenings today, since the end of July, we've done almost 200 screenings, so I think we're sitting about 287 right now. We coordinate with the First Steps Transition. They take their services, those are birth to 3, then on their 3rd birthday to transition their services to us if they still require special education services. So our current enrollment is approximately 340. That's a little higher than when I put this in, but that includes parents as teachers. So our actual students in school is about 280, and then we have 340 if we include parents as teachers. We have 49 staff members, and we have 14 classrooms. We also have occupational therapists, physical therapists, and speech and language pathologists. So also in our center, I mentioned parents as teachers. We have 2 parents as teachers educators. They'll service children from prenatal up through, usually they top out about 5 unless the family needs assistance until the child turns 5 and goes to kindergarten. And they each have about 50 families each. So if a family's got multiple children, then of course they would have multiple children in that family. And they coordinate with the community programs such as Kids Harbor, Mocha Head Start, Genesis House, and Programs on Post to provide services to families. I know they do an annual baby shower to service members, lots of neat things that they're involved in. They're fantastic ladies. So what we do, we lay a firm foundation for students to love learning and to succeed in school. So let's talk about our 4-year-old students. Super proud of them. All of their priority standards were above 85% last year. 12 of the 14 priority standards were above 90% last year. That's phenomenal. So now our 3-year-olds. Now we know that our 3-year-olds don't typically hit that 80% mark, but prioritizing those 3-year-olds, knowing that they'll need 2 full years of preschool before kindergarten, when we get to 4-year-olds, we see how they really shine. So that's awesome. Okay, we have a tremendous focus on what we do. We have these kids for 3 hours a day, and every single minute is utilized for high quality instruction. So we have focus boards. You'll see those in all of our classrooms. So in February of this year, DESE rewrote the preschool standards, which was pretty good because we were on target, on track, but we had to rewrite some of our standards. So starting this year, we're going to be looking at numerical representation, developing an awareness of patterns, produces letter sounds. We've always done letters. Now we're going to track letter sounds. And then we've added a new goal for 3-year-olds on pre-writing strokes. That will be a prerequisite for writing name that 4-year-olds are graded on. And then how we do it. We use the emerging language and literacy curriculum The curriculum consists of 2-week units with spiraling skills throughout each unit. So most of our skills are year-long standards. So currently we're getting ready to move into the Apple unit, and here's some cute little ones from last year. We had one on the left. He was reenacting the book 10 Apples Up on Top, if anybody's read that. And then the little boy to the right, he is working on making a pie, and that aligns with the storybook, The Apple Pie Tree. Inclusion and belonging, we strongly believe that we need to ensure that students feel welcome and part of our school community. That's part of laying that foundation. So this year we added peer models to our ECSE classrooms to act as models for language and social emotional development, and this helps build empathy in some of those students. Then many of our units focus on teaching inclusion and belonging, and we also participate in the district's diversity curriculum. So We're Different, We're the Same is a book from our very first unit that we start off with every school year. Just Ask and Families, Families, Families are books that we will be implementing as part of the district's diversity curriculum. So at this time, I'd invite any questions if anybody has anything.
Dr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Currently, do you have a waiting list?
I do. I have a waiting list for both 3- and 4-year-old students at this time.
Approximately how big is that?
The 4-year-old is about 50. The 3-year-old waiting list is about 150 to 170 right now.
And what's the likelihood that all students will make it in and get service?
4-year-olds depends on how much movement we have and how many parents are showing an interest. Right now, I'm doing, so every month we do screenings. So for September and October, our screenings are already full. For parent referral screenings, and I do those every Wednesday for any parent that might have a concern, I'm doing about 5 of those a week. Sometimes I've got 6 this week. And so there's a lot of demand for our program right now. I wouldn't anticipate getting through the 4-year-old list. We never get through the 3-year-old list.
Thank you very much.
And we did pull some off our 3-year-old list to be peer models this year, so we thought that that might help just a little bit with our 3s. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mitchell. Enrollment update, Dr. Henry.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's always good to hear from early childhood, and certainly the last comment is a statement to why we need more seats. And that's something that, just as a reminder, with our Parker renovation, we help with some of that. But we want to continue working on that as we move forward. And if you want to brighten your day, you can always go out to Williams and see the dogs and the chickens and the kids. The kids and the chickens are the best, though. I mean, nothing wrong with the dog. Nothing wrong with the dog. But no, a fantastic educational program there. Usually we do this in study session. It's rather quick, but I always get many questions over where enrollment is, and I know that oftentimes people in the community see this as a gauge as to what we're looking at is kind of overall community population. That may or may not be correct, but we have enjoyed a fairly steady enrollment over the last few years. I also think it's important to note that this fluctuates on an almost daily basis. That we're usually lucky if we can go 3 or 4 days in a row with not having a change in enrollment one way or another. We capture data the last Wednesday of September for the state. We capture data on a particular day before the end of January for impact aid, but really your average daily attendance is going to be measured by the number of students you have in school, how often they're attending, and things of that nature. So really, this kind of just gives us a picture of what our trends look like. And as you see here, or if you're like me, you can't see that far. So fortunately, I looked over that here. But you do see that this year we're at the orange number. I believe that says 5809. So we're on top of some of our leaner years, not as high as what we were in 2019-20, and certainly back in 18-19 were higher enrollment years. And as you can see, as the year goes, it's kind of hard to put a trend together. We did see some growth last year, most likely attributed to second semester. You have kids coming off a little more comfortable in the seated environment, maybe coming back to school. We do see a change every year. As you can notice really that drop in 2017-18. You're going to have a second kind of a PCS season. That has changed a little bit, over the last couple of years with things going on with COVID. So we're right in the area that we'd like to be, and we hope we see that line continue. But for our district, that's going to fluctuate, as we move through the year. The other thing that is very important, and because it is a big piece of our impact aid, is where kids are living and how we turn them in for impact aid. So you have A, B, and C students that you see here on the charts in front of you. A students living on post with military parents, B living off post military parents, and then C civilian students. And as you can see, there's just been a slight increase in civilian students, kind of a change here between on-post and off-post, but very similar numbers when you look at it overall. And that puts us at approximately, I think it's 68% right now. Typically, we're going to be right around 70% on average as far as the percentage of military students in our school district. As we all know, that's a critical number for B2 heavily impacted aid. We've talked about that several times in terms of our district being unique across the country, because we do have one of the higher populations of military students in a non-coterminous school district, meaning a school district that actually operates off the installation and on the installation. There are those across the country that are only on, or public schools only on an installation, like Fort Leavenworth in Kansas. And as you can see, there's some fluctuation here in buildings. Now, again, I would caution you, this may change as we go throughout the school year. And when you look at these slides here, we have some virtual students tagged in. There's actually, we were kind of changing it. We're trying to find a mechanism. Aaron does an excellent report showing enrollment to the entire administrative team every day. So we've been kind of playing with that whole virtual and seated environment. So it looks a little different up here. But basically, you can see that our elementaries are very similar to what they have been. They're a little lower last year. We've increased that again. East and Freedom are always going to be near that either 900 or 1,000 student range, which makes them two of the largest elementary school buildings in the entire state of Missouri. So very large buildings. And the virtual student population, as you can see in these graphs, has dropped over the course of this year. We've kept that number a little bit lower. Of course, last year we had many students involved in our virtual environment, but we're very happy that we're getting kids back to school and of course monitoring each day very closely the change in our COVID infection rates and quarantines. So having said all of that, any questions you have? Again, this is a snapshot. It's going to change as the days and weeks go by, but really a pretty solid start, being around 5,800 for the start of the school year.
Any comments or questions? Thank you, Dr. Henry. Curriculum documents, Dr. Atkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. Attached, you will find updated curriculum documents for your review. These documents will be brought back for approval at the October Board of Education meeting. The documents for review this month are Science and Social Studies for grades kindergarten through 8th grade.
Any comments or questions? Thank you. Move to action items. The SOP.
Yes.
All right, SOP Tier 2 sponsorship, Dr. Henry.
Thank you, Mr. President. Each year we approach the board with a recommendation to join the SOP organization with the Tier 2 sponsorship. So that's what I'm doing again this year, is requesting $5,000 to be a Tier 2 sponsor of the Sustainable Ozarks Partnership. We are part of many community organizations as a school district. SOP has been a very strong supporter of our district, has been instrumental in facilitating our work in Washington, D.C., and we appreciate the partnership that we have with that community growth organization. So I'll recommend Tier 2 sponsorship for the upcoming year.
Do I have a motion? Ms. Rowell makes the motion. Mr. Pondrum second. Dan thirded it. All in favor, show of hands. 7-0, or 6-0, motion carries. Proposed job description, second reading, Mrs. Bills.
Thank you, Mr. President. Administration recommends the approval of the communications specialist job description as presented at this time, please.
Any other comments or questions? Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Rao makes a motion, do I have a second? Second. Charn, second. All in favor, show of hands. 6-0, motion carries. Curriculum documents, Dr. Atkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. Last month, we brought for review curriculum documents for English, language, arts, and math for grades kindergarten through 8th grade, as well as the EOC tested high school courses of English 10, Algebra 1, Algebra 2, Biology, and Government. Administration requests approval of the curriculum documents as presented.
Do I have a motion? Arn makes a motion, do I have a second? Second. Arn, second. All in favor, show of hands. 6-0, motion carries. Thank you, Dr. Atkins. Ventilation upgrades, Dr. Cobb.
Thank you, Mr. President. Administration requests approval for the district-wide upgrade to the ventilation system as presented.
Any comments or questions? Do I have a motion?
Motion.
All right, Mr. Quinn makes a motion, Mr. Rouse second. All in favor, show of hands. 7-0, motion carries. Textbook proposal, Dr. Atkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. Tonight, we're requesting approval of college algebra textbooks. The amount of the proposal is $13,874, which would provide 75 student textbooks as well as teacher access to the online teacher materials. And this will provide an update to their current college algebra textbooks.
Have any comments or questions? I have a motion.
Motion.
Mr. Rao, motion. Mr. Pond, second. All in favor, show of hands. Motion carries 7-0. Keep everybody on their feet. We'll go back to ventilation upgrades.
Thank you, Mr. President. Administration requests approval for the district-wide air purification upgrades as presented.
Yep, you're right. Any comments, questions? Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Harn makes a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Rouse, second. All in favor, show of hands. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Mr. President, I'll make that motion to adjourn.
Quinn makes a motion. I have a second. Ms. Ponder makes a second. All in favor, show of hands. You're adjourned. Have a good homecoming week.
That was quick, Mr.